The leap of faith. Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Chapter 1: The Crossroads. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting a golden hue over the bustling streets of downtown Chicago. Emma Hartley stood at the corner of State and Adams, her heart pounding in her chest as she clutched her phone tightly. The screen glowed with 2 emails, each representing a life-altering decision. One was from a prestigious marketing firm, offering her a stable position with a generous salary and benefits. The other, a startup company focused on eco-friendly products, promised a role that aligned perfectly with her passion for sustainability but came with significant risk. "Why is this so hard?" she muttered under her breath, her frustration spilling over. She had always been the one to follow her heart, to chase after dreams. But now, standing at this metaphorical crossroads, doubt crept in like a shadow. As the city buzzed around her, Emma felt utterly alone. She had just graduated with honors, and the world was supposed to be her oyster. Instead, she felt like she was drowning in choices, each one pulling her in a different direction. The weight of her family's expectations loomed large, particularly her mother's voice echoing in her mind. "Stability is key, Emma. You need to think about your future." But stability felt suffocating, like a cage. The thought of spending her days in a corporate office, crunching numbers and attending endless meetings, made her stomach churn. On the other hand, the startup was a gamble, one that could either lead to her dream career or leave her jobless and broke. "Emma." A voice broke through her thoughts. It was Sarah, her best friend, rushing toward her with a concerned expression. "I've been looking for you. You didn't answer my texts." "Sorry, I was thinking," Emma replied, forcing a smile. "About the job offers?" Sarah asked, her brow furrowing. Emma nodded, her heart sinking. "I just don't know what to do. I want to follow my passion, but what if it doesn't work out?" "Maybe you should take the safe route," Sarah suggested, her tone gentle yet insistent. "You can always pursue your passion later, right? Stability first, then dreams." Emma felt a pang of disappointment at her friend's words. "But what if I never get the chance again? What if I wake up one day and realize I wasted my life on something that doesn't make me happy?" "Life is about balance," Sarah said, crossing her arms. "You can't just throw caution to the wind. Think about your bills, your student loans." I know," Emma interrupted, her voice rising. "But I can't just lean on what makes sense. I need to trust my heart, even if it's scary." As Sarah opened her mouth to respond, Emma felt a wave of emotion wash over her. She pulled out her phone, scrolling through the messages again. Her fingers hovered over the screen, and she closed her eyes, whispering a silent prayer. "God, please guide me. I want to trust in you with all my heart, but I'm scared. Help me to know what to do." The city around her continued to pulse with life, but in that moment, she felt a flicker of peace. She opened her eyes, looking at Sarah, who was watching her with a mix of concern and support. "Maybe I just need to take a leap of faith," Emma said, her voice steadier now. "I'll take the riskier job. I'll trust that God has a plan for me." Sarah's expression softened, but Emma could see the worry lingering in her eyes. "Just promise me you'll think it through. I don't want to see you get hurt." "I will," Emma replied, though her heart raced with excitement. She felt a spark of determination ignite within her. As they walked down the street, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that she was on the brink of something monumental. She was stepping into the unknown, ready to embrace whatever came next. In her heart, she hoped that by acknowledging God in her decision, He would indeed direct her paths, just as Proverbs 3 verses 5-6 promised. But as she turned the corner, a sense of foreboding washed over her. What if she was making the biggest mistake of her life? The thought lingered like a dark cloud, but Emma pushed it aside, focusing instead on the thrill of possibility that lay ahead. Little did she know, the journey she was about to embark on would test her faith in ways she could never have imagined. Chapter 2: The Leap of Faith. Emma sat in her apartment, staring at the email on her laptop screen. The words, "We're thrilled to offer you the position of marketing coordinator," stared back at her, a testament to her hard work and dedication. But instead of feeling elated, she felt a sense of unease. She had made her decision. The startup was where she belonged. It was a risk, but one she was willing to take. Still, the doubt lingered, a persistent whisper in the back of her mind. A knock at the door interrupted her thoughts. Emma opened it to find Sarah standing on the other side, a concerned expression on her face. "Hey, Sarah said, pulling her into a hug. "I heard about the job offer. Congratulations." Emma managed a weak smile. "Thanks. I actually turned it down." Sarah's eyes widened. "What? Why?" Emma led her friend inside and gestured for her to sit on the couch. "I took the job at the startup," she said, bracing herself for Sarah's reaction. "But Emma, that's crazy," Sarah exclaimed. "That place is a mess, and the pay is terrible. How are you going to survive?" Emma felt a pang of hurt at her friend's words. "It's my dream job, Sarah. I can't just ignore that." "But what about your family?" Sarah pressed. "They're going to freak out when they find out you turned down a stable position for some risky startup." Emma sighed, running a hand through her hair. I know. But I have to follow my heart, even if it's scary." Sarah shook her head. "I don't understand you sometimes, Why can't you just play it safe for once?" "Because safe doesn't make me happy," Emma replied, her voice rising. "I want to do something that matters, something that makes a difference." "And what if it all falls apart?" Sarah asked, her tone laced with concern. "What if you lose everything?" Emma thought about the verse she had clung to in her prayers, the one that had given her strength to make this decision. "I'm trusting that God has a plan for me," she said, her voice steady. "I'm leaning on Him, not my own understanding." Sarah looked at her for a long moment, her expression unreadable. "I hope you know what you're doing, she said finally. "I don't want to see you get hurt." Emma reached out and squeezed her friend's hand. "I know, Sarah, but this is something I have to do. I need you to support me, even if you don't agree." Sarah sighed and nodded. "Okay, I'm here for you no matter what. Just promise me you'll be careful, okay?" Emma smiled and pulled her friend into another hug. "I promise." As Sarah left, Emma felt a mix of emotions swirling inside her. She was excited, terrified, and hopeful all at the same time. She knew that the road ahead would be challenging, but she was determined to trust in God's plan for her life. Little did she know, the challenges she was about to face would test her faith in ways she had never imagined. Chapter 3: The Unexpected Twist. Emma's first day at the startup was a whirlwind of activity. She was introduced to the small team, each member passionate and driven in their own way. The office was a far cry from the sleek, corporate spaces she had envisioned, with mismatched furniture and whiteboards covered in scribbles. Despite the chaos, Emma felt a sense of excitement. This was her chance to make a real difference, to put her skills to use in a way that mattered. She dove headfirst into her work, determined to prove herself and justify her decision to take the leap. But as the weeks passed, Emma began to notice strange things happening around the office. Files would go missing, projects would be derailed, and deadlines would be missed. At first, she brushed it off as the growing pains of a young company, but as the issues continued to mount, she couldn't shake the feeling that something more sinister was at play. One day, as she was working late, Emma stumbled upon a document that seemed to be a blueprint for their latest product launch. It was covered in notes and scribbles, but one word jumped out at her: sabotage. Emma's heart raced as she read through the document, her mind reeling. Someone was deliberately trying to undermine the company's success. But who and why? She confronted her boss, a passionate young woman named Olivia, about her findings. Olivia's face paled as Emma explained what she had discovered, and she quickly called a meeting with the rest of the team. "Someone in this room is working against us," Olivia announced, her voice trembling with anger. "We've been sabotaged, and it has to stop." The team erupted into chaos, with accusations flying and fingers pointing. Emma sat back, watching the scene unfold with a growing sense of dread. She had put her faith in this company, in this dream, and now it was all falling apart. As the meeting drew to a close, Olivia turned to Emma, her eyes filled with a mix of gratitude and concern. "Thank you for bringing this to our attention," she said. "But I'm afraid this puts you in a very dangerous position." Emma felt a chill run down her spine. "What do you mean?" The person behind this is clearly willing to go to extreme lengths to protect their interests, Olivia replied. And they won't hesitate to silence anyone who gets in their way. Emma's mind raced with the implications of Olivia's words. She had risked everything to be here, to pursue her passion, and now it seemed that her very life was in danger. She thought of the verse she had clung to, the one that promised God would direct her paths, and she felt a glimmer of hope. But as she lay awake that night, staring at the ceiling, she couldn't shake the feeling that her faith was being tested in ways she had never imagined. The road ahead was uncertain, and the stakes were higher than ever before. Chapter 4: The Turning Point. The following weeks were a blur of tension and uncertainty at the startup. Emma felt the weight of the atmosphere pressing down on her, and every time she entered the office, she scanned the room for signs of the saboteur. The team had become suspicious of one another, and trust was eroding faster than the deadlines they were trying to meet. One afternoon, Emma was working late again, poring over marketing strategies for their upcoming product launch. The office was quiet, the only sound the faint hum of the overhead lights. As she reviewed her notes, she heard a soft rustle behind her. She turned to see Lucas, a fellow team member with whom she had developed a friendly rapport, standing in the doorway. "Hey, Emma. Working late again?" he asked, his voice casual, but there was something in his eyes that made her uneasy. "Yeah, just trying to get everything sorted for the launch," she replied, forcing a smile. "How about you?" "Same," he said, stepping into the room. "I've been thinking about what Olivia said in the meeting. It's really unsettling, isn't it?" Emma nodded, her heart racing. "It is. I just can't believe someone would do this to us." Lucas leaned against the doorframe, his expression shifting to one of concern. I've been doing some digging. I think I might have an idea of who it is." Emma's breath caught in her throat. "Who?" He hesitated, glancing around as if ensuring they were alone. "I can't say for sure, but I've noticed some strange behavior from Jenna. She's been acting off lately, and I overheard her talking to someone on the phone about cleaning up loose ends." Emma felt a chill run down her spine. Jenna was one of the more experienced members of the team, someone who had been there since the start. "Are you sure?" "That seems extreme." "I know it sounds crazy," Lucas said, his voice lowering. "But I think we need to confront her. If she's the one behind this, we need to stop her before it's too late." Emma's heart raced at the thought of confrontation. What if we're wrong? What if we accuse her and it backfires? "Then we'll deal with it," Lucas replied, determination etched on his face. "But we can't just sit back and let this continue." Emma weighed her options, the tension in her chest mounting. She thought of the verse she had clung to during this tumultuous journey, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart." But trusting felt more complicated than ever. "Okay," Emma finally said, her voice steady. "Let's do it. But we need to be careful." The next day, they arranged to meet Jenna for coffee, under the pretense of discussing marketing ideas. Emma's heart raced as they sat across from her in a small cafe. Jenna was animated, her laughter filling the space, but Emma couldn't shake the feeling of dread that settled in her stomach. "Emma, Lucas. It's so great to see you both," Jenna said, her smile bright. "What's up?" Emma exchanged a glance with Lucas, who nodded slightly. "We wanted to get your thoughts on the upcoming launch," Emma said, forcing a smile. "There's been a lot of talk about the sabotage, and we thought it might be good to brainstorm together." Jenna's expression shifted slightly, a flicker of something, fear, perhaps, crossing her face before she masked it with a smile. "Oh, of course. I'm all in. We need to stay focused and not let anything distract us." As they discussed strategies, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that Jenna was hiding something. Lucas interjected with pointed questions, and Emma watched as Jenna's demeanor shifted from confident to defensive. "Why do you think this is happening?" Lucas asked, leaning in. "It feels like someone is intentionally trying to undermine us." Jenna's eyes darted around the cafe, and Emma noticed her hands tremble slightly as she took a sip of her coffee. "I don't know," she said, her voice shaky. "But we can't let it get to us. We just need to work harder." Emma felt a surge of adrenaline. "Jenna, we need to know who we can trust. If you have any information that could help us, now is the time to share." Jenna's eyes widened, and for a moment, Emma thought she saw panic flicker across her face. I don't know anything, she stammered, her voice rising. You can't just accuse me like that. The tension in the air thickened, and Emma felt a knot form in her stomach. We're not accusing you, she said carefully. We just want to understand what's happening. Let's just focus on the launch, Jenna said, her voice strained. That's what really matters. As they parted ways, Emma's heart raced. The conversation had left her feeling more uncertain than ever. She had put her faith in this team, in this dream, and now it felt like everything was slipping through her fingers. That night, Emma lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. The weight of doubt pressed down on her, and she felt a familiar sense of despair creeping in. Had she made the wrong choice? Had her leap of faith led her into a trap? She closed her eyes, whispering a prayer for guidance. God, I need you now more than ever. Help me to trust in you, even when I can't see the way forward. As she drifted off to sleep, she couldn't shake the feeling that the storm was far from over. The path ahead was fraught with danger, and she would need every ounce of faith she could muster to navigate the challenges that lay ahead. Chapter 5: The Black Moment. The days that followed the confrontation with Jenna felt like an endless cycle of anxiety and uncertainty. Emma arrived at the office each morning with a knot in her stomach, acutely aware of the tension that hung in the air. The team was fractured, suspicion simmering just beneath the surface, and productivity had plummeted. One afternoon, Emma and Lucas were huddled over their laptops, trying to salvage the marketing campaign for the upcoming product launch. The atmosphere was thick with unspoken fears and unacknowledged doubts. Did you hear about the latest delay? Lucas asked, his voice low. The supplier just backed out, and we're running out of time. Emma sighed, rubbing her temples. It feels like everything is falling apart. I thought taking this leap would lead to something amazing, but instead, it's like we're spiraling into chaos. Lucas looked at her, his eyes filled with concern. You can't let this get to you, Emma. You believed in this place for a reason. Just keep pushing forward. But Emma felt her resolve wavering. As she stared at the screen, the weight of her decision pressed down on her. She had chosen this path, believing that trusting in God would lead her to success. Yet, with every setback, her faith felt more fragile. The verse she had clung to seemed distant, almost mocking in its promise. That evening, as Emma walked home, the city lights blurred around her. She was lost in thought, replaying every moment of the past few weeks. Had she misread the signs? Was she truly meant to be here, or had she been foolish to think she could make a difference? When she reached her apartment, she found a message from Olivia waiting for her. Can we talk? I need to discuss something important, it read. Emma's heart raced as she replied, agreeing to meet at the office the next morning. The following day, Emma arrived early, her stomach churning with apprehension. Olivia was already there, pacing the floor, her expression grave. Emma, thank you for coming, Olivia said, her voice tight. I need to be honest with you. I've been hearing some troubling things. Emma's heart sank. What do you mean? Jenna has been spreading rumors about you, Olivia said, her eyes darkening. She's telling people that you're the one responsible for the delays and the sabotage. It's causing a rift in the team, and I'm afraid it's affecting your reputation. Emma felt the ground shift beneath her. What? That's insane. I've been working hard to help this team succeed. I know, and I believe you, Olivia said quickly. But the damage is being done. People are starting to question your loyalty, and it's making it difficult for us to move forward. Emma's mind raced, her heart pounding in her chest. She had come to this company with hope and determination, and now it felt like everything was crumbling around her. What do I do? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. We need to confront Jenna, Olivia said firmly. But we have to be careful. If she's willing to lie to protect herself, we need to tread lightly. Emma nodded, but the thought of confronting Jenna filled her with dread. What if Jenna turned the accusations back on her? What if this confrontation only made things worse? That night, Emma lay in bed, her mind racing. She felt like she was standing on the edge of a precipice, teetering between hope and despair. The weight of her decision pressed down on her, and she felt utterly alone. In the darkness, tears streamed down her face as she whispered another prayer. God, I don't know what to do. I feel lost and afraid. Please guide me. Help me to trust in your plan, even when it feels impossible." But as she drifted off to sleep, a sense of foreboding settled over her. The next day would be crucial, and she couldn't shake the feeling that the confrontation with Jenna would change everything. The black moment loomed ahead, and Emma could only hope that her faith would be enough to carry her through the storm. Chapter 6: The Breakthrough. The following morning, Emma arrived at the office with a mix of determination and trepidation. She had spent the night wrestling with her thoughts, replaying every scenario in her mind. Today was the day she would confront Jenna, and she knew it would require all the courage she could muster. As she walked through the office, she could feel the weight of the atmosphere pressing down on her. Whispers followed her as she passed her coworkers, their expressions a mix of curiosity and suspicion. Emma took a deep breath, reminding herself of the verse that had guided her through this tumultuous journey: "Trust in the Lord with all your heart." She had to believe that she was not alone in this fight. When she reached her desk, she found Lucas waiting for her, his expression serious. "Are you ready for this?" he asked, concern etched on his face. "I have to be," Emma replied, her voice steady despite the fluttering in her stomach. "We need to put an end to this." They agreed to meet Jenna in the conference room, a neutral space that felt both intimidating and necessary. As they walked together, Emma felt a surge of adrenaline. She was tired of being on the defensive. It was time to take control of the narrative. When they entered the conference room, Jenna was already seated, her posture rigid. She looked up, surprise flickering across her face. "What's this about?" she asked, her voice tight. "Emma and I wanted to talk to you about the rumors going around," Lucas said, his tone firm but calm. "We need to clear the air." Jenna's eyes narrowed. "I don't know what you're talking about." Emma felt a rush of frustration but forced herself to remain composed. "Jenna, we know you've been spreading false information about me. It's affecting the team and our ability to work together. We need to address this." Jenna's demeanor shifted, and for a moment, Emma saw fear flash across her face. "I'm not spreading rumors. You're just trying to deflect blame." "Enough," Lucas interjected, his voice rising. "This isn't about blame. This is about the truth. We're all on the same team, and we need to work together to make this launch successful." Emma took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. "Jenna, I've put my heart into this project. I believe in what we're doing, and I want to see us succeed. But we can't do that if we're tearing each other apart. If you're struggling, we can help you. But we need honesty." Jenna's expression softened slightly, and Emma could see the conflict in her eyes. I just thought I was protecting myself," she admitted, her voice trembling. "I didn't want to be the one blamed if things went wrong." Emma's heart ached at Jenna's vulnerability. "We're all feeling the pressure. But we can't let fear drive us apart. We need to trust each other." Silence hung in the air, thick with tension. Emma held her breath, praying for a breakthrough. She felt the weight of her decision to trust in God, and she hoped that this moment would lead to healing. Finally, Jenna looked down, her shoulders slumping. "You're right," she said quietly. "I've been scared, and I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't mean for it to go this far." Emma felt a surge of relief wash over her. "We can work through this together. Let's focus on the launch and put our energy into making it successful." Jenna nodded, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I'm sorry, Emma. I really am. I let my fear get the best of me." As they left the conference room, Emma felt a weight lift off her shoulders. The confrontation had been difficult, but it had led to a breakthrough that she hadn't dared to hope for. She and Lucas exchanged a glance, both of them feeling the shift in the atmosphere. Over the next few days, the team rallied together, working with renewed energy and purpose. Jenna became an ally rather than an adversary, and Emma felt the bonds of trust begin to rebuild. They collaborated on marketing strategies, brainstorming ideas, and sharing the workload. One afternoon, as they gathered around the conference table, Emma felt a sense of hope blooming within her. She looked around at her teammates, their faces lit with enthusiasm, and she realized that they were all in this together. "Let's remember why we started this," Emma said, her voice steady. "We're here to make a difference, to create something that matters. Let's trust in each other and in the journey ahead." As they cheered and raised their coffee cups in solidarity, Emma felt a renewed sense of purpose. She had faced her fears and emerged stronger, and she knew that trusting in God had led her to this moment. The road ahead would still be challenging, but for the first time in weeks, she felt a glimmer of certainty. With faith and determination, they would navigate whatever obstacles lay in their path. Emma smiled, knowing that she was not alone. God was guiding her, directing her paths, and she was ready to embrace the journey ahead. Chapter 7. The Resolution. The day of the product launch arrived, and the atmosphere in the office was electric with anticipation. Emma could feel the energy buzzing around her as the team put the finishing touches on their marketing materials and prepared for the presentation. After weeks of uncertainty and strife, they had come together, united by a shared vision and a renewed sense of purpose. As Emma adjusted her blazer in the mirror, she couldn't help but reflect on how far she had come since that fateful day when she had stood at the crossroads of her career. The challenges she had faced had tested her faith, but they had also strengthened her resolve. She had learned to trust not only in God but also in her teammates. "Are you ready for this?" Lucas asked, appearing in the doorway with a supportive smile. Emma nodded, her heart racing with excitement. "I think so. It feels like we've worked so hard to get here." "Just remember, we're all in this together," he said, giving her a reassuring pat on the shoulder. "No matter what happens, we've got each other's backs." As they made their way to the conference room, Emma felt a mix of nerves and exhilaration. The room was filled with their colleagues, investors, and potential clients, all eager to see what the startup had to offer. Emma took a deep breath, reminding herself of the verse she had held on to throughout this journey. "In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths." The presentation began, and Emma felt the adrenaline surge through her as she stepped up to the front of the room. She shared the story behind their eco-friendly product, highlighting the passion and dedication that had gone into its creation. As she spoke, she could see the interest growing in the audience's eyes, and a sense of pride swelled within her. When it was Lucas's turn to present, he seamlessly transitioned into the marketing strategy they had developed together. The energy in the room was palpable, and Emma could feel the excitement building as they showcased their innovative ideas. As the presentation came to a close, Olivia stepped forward to wrap things up. "Thank you all for being here today. We believe in this product and the impact it can have on our community and the environment. We're excited to take this journey with you." The applause that followed was thunderous, and Emma felt a wave of relief wash over her. They had done it. They had turned their struggles into a triumphant moment, and the team had come together stronger than ever. After the presentation, Emma mingled with the attendees, answering questions and sharing her enthusiasm for the product. She felt a sense of fulfillment that she had longed for since she had taken the leap of faith to join the startup. As the evening wore on, Emma found herself standing with Lucas and Jenna, who had become close allies throughout the process. They shared stories and laughter, the tension of the past replaced by camaraderie and support. "I can't believe we made it," Jenna said, her eyes shining with excitement. "I was so scared at first, but now I feel like we're really onto something special." Emma smiled, her heart swelling with gratitude. "Me too. I've learned so much about trust and teamwork through all of this. It's amazing what we can accomplish when we come together." Just then, Olivia approached them, her expression beaming with pride. "I couldn't have asked for a better team. You all pulled together and made this happen. I'm so proud of each and every one of you." Emma felt a rush of emotion at Olivia's words. They had faced challenges that had tested their resolve, but they had emerged stronger and more united. As the night came to an end, Emma stepped outside into the cool evening air. The city lights twinkled around her, and she took a moment to breathe deeply, savoring the sweetness of victory. In that moment of reflection, she felt a profound sense of peace wash over her. She had trusted in the Lord with all her heart, and he had directed her paths in ways she could never have anticipated. As she walked home, Emma thought about the journey that had brought her to this point. The struggles, the doubts, the moments of darkness, they had all led her to this place of fulfillment and purpose. She felt a renewed sense of hope for the future, knowing that whatever challenges lay ahead, she would face them with faith and courage. The next chapter of her life was just beginning, and she was ready to embrace it with open arms. Emma smiled to herself, knowing that she had found her way, and that she was exactly where she was meant to be. Chapter 8. The Epilogue. In the months that followed the successful product launch, Emma's life took on a new rhythm. The startup had gained traction, and the team was working tirelessly to keep up with the growing demand for their eco-friendly products. Emma found herself thriving in her role, her passion for sustainability fueling her creativity and drive. As she sat at her desk, reviewing the latest sales figures, a sense of pride swelled within her. They had come so far, overcoming obstacles and doubts to create something truly meaningful. Emma thought back to the verse that had guided her through the darkest moments. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. She had learned the true meaning of those words, not just in her professional life but in her personal journey as well. The challenges she had faced had tested her faith, but they had also strengthened her relationship with God. She had learned to trust in his plan, even when it didn't make sense, and to acknowledge his guidance in every aspect of her life. As Emma looked around the office, she saw the same transformation in her teammates. Jenna had blossomed into a confident leader, her fears replaced by a fierce determination to make a difference. Lucas, too, had grown, his once cautious nature giving way to a bold and innovative spirit. The startup had become more than just a workplace. It was a family bound together by a shared vision and a deep sense of purpose. Emma marveled at how far they had come, from a small team of dreamers to a thriving company making waves in the industry. One afternoon, as Emma sat in the park during her lunch break, she watched as a group of children played on the swings. Their laughter filled the air, and Emma couldn't help but smile. It was moments like these that reminded her of the impact their work was having on the world around them. As she walked back to the office, Emma felt a renewed sense of purpose. She knew that her journey had been far from easy, but she also knew that it had been worth it. She had found her calling, her passion, and her faith, all wrapped up in the pursuit of a dream. As she entered the office, she saw a familiar face waiting for her. It was Sarah, her best friend, who had been there for her through it all. Emma's heart swelled with gratitude as she pulled Sarah into a tight hug. "I'm so proud of you," Sarah whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "You never gave up, even when things got tough." Emma pulled back, her eyes shining with tears. "I couldn't have done it without you, Sarah. You've been my rock through it all." They talked for hours, catching up on each other's lives and sharing stories of triumph and growth. Emma marveled at how much had changed in such a short time, and she knew that she owed it all to the leap of faith she had taken. As the sun began to set, Emma stepped out onto the balcony, taking in the breathtaking view of the city's skyline. She thought about the verse that had become a mantra for her, a reminder of the power of trust and faith. "In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths," she whispered, the words settling into her heart like a gentle embrace. Emma knew that her journey was far from over, that there would be more challenges and obstacles to face, but she also knew that she was not alone. God was with her, guiding her every step of the way, and she was ready to face whatever came next. As she turned to head back inside, Emma caught sight of a rainbow arching across the sky. She paused, taking in its vibrant colors, and felt a sense of wonder wash over her. It was a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there was always hope, always a promise of something better to come. Emma smiled, knowing that she had found her way, and that she was exactly where she was meant to be. She had trusted in the Lord with all her heart, and he had directed her paths, leading her to a place of fulfillment and purpose. As she walked back to her desk, Emma felt a renewed sense of determination. She was ready to take on the world, to make a difference, and to inspire others to do the same. With God by her side and her team at her back, she knew that anything was possible. The future was bright, and Emma couldn't wait to see what adventures lay ahead.